Hello, adventurers, and welcome to Dice Tower Theater Presents After the Oath, where we explore the characters and players behind Dawn of Dragons. Just a reminder, you can watch the full unedited video of this recording and support our community by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Goodham Productions. Support our storytelling, podcasts, and more, as well as gain Patreon-only perks, such as even joining us at the game table. Patreons joining this month will be eligible for some Patreon-only giveaways from our trusted partners, such as Norse Foundry and others. Again, that's patreon.com/Goodham Productions. Join us today. In this episode, I'm here with Jolene, who played and voiced the fire mage Cordelia, as well as others, and helped me write and direct, and is a powerhouse. Do you remember the first character I conned you into playing?
I do. So if I remember correctly, you already had a campaign going for Ravenloft. And you and the players at the point that I had joined were so far into the campaign that they were already in like Strahd's castle. Like they were already in the thick of it. So you you threw me in the game under what was usually an NPC, which is Strahd's love. I didn't know this going in. I don't think the players hadn't figured that out yet. So it was kind of the discovery of that. And that was intense.
It was. I was told by Kit. I remember I told Kit about it. And he was another friend of all of us. And he told me that was the cruelest thing I could have ever done. And I told him that the team actually got the ending that isn't really widely published for the most part. It wasn't, I'd say published. That's not the right word. It's not really well known, and that's what happened. They freed you all so you could join your love in the afterlife and all that stuff. And we all looked at each other and said, that was terrible. And I said, I got a better idea. We came up with this show. So we don't have nearly enough remorse happening. Let's get together and do
that. There was a lot of sap in the moment.
it was, that's for sure. So when did you start playing Cordelia?
Oh boy. I can't actually. I tried to pinpoint the exact date and I couldn't find it. I tried. But I believe it was in 2016, wasn't it, that we first started the campaign?
Yeah. 2016 is when we started at the beginning, right?
As the kids. And yeah, luckily enough, Cordelia is one of the kids that started us all off. So that's many of years considering we just finished the campaign.
It was, and that was your first character actually coming up with your concept on your own, right?
And not being thrown into this tragic love story of a character. Yeah.
True. You weren't like fed that. But what inspired you then? So that being said, what inspired you to choose Cordelia as a character? I mean, where'd that come from?
I think going in, I was very excited to have my own character, but it's still that like first really big campaign jitters where, you're nervous of not knowing what you're getting into, of embarrassing yourself. And, I was also a teenager at the time. So add that angst on top of it. So honestly, Cordelia started as kind of a blank slate character. It was kind of just rolling with the punches. I very much loved magic, so that's what inspired me to go with the wizard, because I felt like I could relate to that the most personally in the moment. And her traits and everything kind of just came along with playing. I don't think I really discovered Cordelia until halfway through the campaign, to be honest with you.
But why did you choose the name Cordelia? Did that come from something?
It did. So I don't remember the exact origins, but as many people in my generation, I grew up on roleplay forums. And I had this old fantasy character. Her name was Cordelia. She was actually like almost more of a fighter style instead of a wizard. But she was one of my first roleplay characters that I held for years and years and years. So I wanted to kind of live on her name in this new character.
All right.
Mm.
It's a good place to do it. So,
It is.
um, it, what characteristics of Cordelia do you relate with the most?
So this one, Cordelia and I share a lot of similarities. I think with starting Cordelia as a blank slate, I grew with her a lot of her passions and what she was going to was a projection, to be completely honest. So I relate to the very specific type A person that she is. I relate to that a lot. Her love for understanding things and knowledge and seeking to understand people, and her love for dragons. Obviously, that is a huge one. I relate to Cordelia on.
We've only seen this other character that you play, in a couple of episodes. So back in season 4 is when Isenatha showed up, right?
Yes.
And then Isenatha disappeared with their friends, off into another story.
Yeah.
So where's that start? What's going to happen with that story? We'll find out at some point, but not yet. But what inspired Isenatha?
Isenatha um, was out of my comfort zone. Uh, just with Cordelia, she is very grounded, I guess is the word I'd use. Very grounded, very usually like she's not involved in a lot of mischief or anything like that. She's been known to be the one of like, all right, guys, come on, let's get our stuff together. Whereas Isenatha, it was completely out of my comfort zone of playing a little bit of a mischievous character who's just there to live and experience things. Um, so I wanted to step into that other side of a personality and see what like I could come up with it and do with that kind of personality. And honestly, Isenatha quickly became one of my favorite characters because of it. She has so much depth, but she is so fun.
Yeah, Isenatha is very fun.
Mhm.
Um, so what about her name? Where did that come from?
So I couldn't find where I pieced this together, but I use one of my favorite games of all time is the Dragon Age series. I love those games. I'm really fascinated by the elven lore in it and everything, and I cannot for the life of me find how I pieced this together. But I believe Isenatha is elven in Dragon Age for dragon.
Oh, hey, well, that's cool. That works.
I can't find proof of that now, so I don't actually remember where I pulled that, but I remember that was the rabbit hole I went in. So I fell down some rabbit hole where I figured it out.
So at least in your head, you believed that this meant dragon, and you were like, "I'm going to do this."
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
can't find any proof of it on the internet. I can't like find it in the game, so I have no idea where I pulled that from.
that is fantastic. So, what do you relate to the most with her?
So I guess my relation to Isenatha, I feel like so many of us as a group of friends and coworkers, like we put a lot of ourselves in the characters, and a lot of us spoken to like depression and other things that we've gone through where these games really guide us through that. And I think Isenatha on there's an obvious level there that you will eventually find out. um, but she was kind of a way for me to explore like the child that was still in me, because she really was kind of just a kid figuring life out, like not taking things seriously that should have been serious because she didn't know. And it was almost kind of like healing that inner child.
Isenatha's journey largely is trying to discover herself, right?
Yeah.
And find out where she fits. And if we look at Isenatha, this from my perspective, outside looking in, just as your your dungeon master, right? But the way Isenatha was first brought her in, she was very serious, and
Yeah.
that comes into the story. We see how serious she is, and then for some reason she's like, I don't want to go down there and help you guys finish this mission. I got to peace out. And she leaves, and then she joins this other mission and goes. And her journey from there, she lets the facade drop
Yes.
with her
Yes.
friends, right, and becomes more of a kid, and they explore this horrifying world of the shattered with there's a lot of humor,
A
even though
lot
it's
of
dark. There's a lot of humor with these very dark characters. All of them
yes.
are tragic. Um, so yeah, it'll be an exciting time to listen to the Shattered. That's the whole purpose of this series.
Mm,
After the oath, JD was the one that told me you should do this. I said, cool. And so to pay them back, I am ensuring that in every episode I bring up the Shattered,
I love it.
and, and just to remind JD how bad we want this story.
Yeah, I think we're all so excited for the Shattered because it is
Absolutely.
so tragic, but it so much depth in that entire story and all the characters there.
Absolutely. And JD has done so much work on it.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and so I'm more of a fan than I am a producer at this point. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I've read parts of the script and where they're going with it and where the story's going and all this. Fantastic. It's going to be a wonderful story. It really brings us to what's happening in the other part of the world, right? Okay. So, were there any characters you feel personally as a player, connected with more than others, as well as that your characters connected with? I mean, everybody's kind of
Ooh.
putting themselves out there, but were there characters that you felt a stronger connection to than others?
Um, that's a hard one. Man, I think we'll start with Cordelia here. Um, I think her like unlikely, or at least her in her head, unlikely, unexpected, one of her closest friendships became Dabria on some level. Um, yeah, there's a closeness between them after a while, which I don't think. I think one of Cordelia's biggest humps because she is so far into there's good, there's bad initially, which makes sense with like everything that she went through as a child. Like there's good, there's bad, black and white. And I think one part of her journey growing up and everything was realizing that it's not black and white. Um, and really learning to not judge books by a cover. And I think Dabria was her most surprising friend with that. Uh, because coming in, meeting Dabria, everything Dabria is that we're introduced to is everything Cordelia should be like, no, nope,
Yeah, you did not like that character. I
no.
remember. I remember at the table. JD is one of your best friends, and
Yes.
so I could tell where you're like, huh, how are we going to interact here?
Well, especially JD is absolutely one of my best friends. With that, JD definitely played into really like Dabria picked on Cordelia, and JD thought it was hilarious. Um,
It's true.
and yeah, and we leaned into it because it was a fun banter back and forth from us as players, as friends, but also like I couldn't respond with the quips. I'd respond back to JD as Cordelia to Dabria because it was a stranger who's just off the rip, immediately psychoanalyzing her, being like, hmm. I don't think Cordelia knew how to handle that right away.
I think it's
Um,
accurate. Yeah.
yeah. But eventually, just through everything they went through, she realized that Dabria was a person she could trust. Um, and they got extremely, extremely close uh, there near the end. And again, spoilers. I'm not going to go too far into that, but they got extremely close. Um, and then with that, also got very close very quickly with Mistral, who was also another one of Mistral didn't know who Mistral was. So that made a lot of layers of complexity because if you don't know who you are, how is someone supposed to trust you? But there's something about Mistral that Cordelia just kind of clung to.
There's another campaign that I'll spring on you where you played another character,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that character is going to be coming up in this next season, as
Gotcha.
well as so Mistral comes into this next season, and there's mention of this other character in this next season, which is the Shadow Barons uh, it was the campaign for that one. That was one of our Patreon campaigns where you played Helena. And what about Helena? We don't want to give away what makes
Yep.
Helena unique and awesome and all that stuff and give the spoilers, but what did you like most about Helena and
Helena.
playing that character?
Helena was another one kind of stepping out of a comfort zone. She was a very guarded character.
Yeah,
But yeah, put it that way. Very guarded character. And she had, I think her whole story, not just her as a character, but her connections to multiple characters, because despite the fact she was guarded, her story all portrayed throughout these very unique relationships she had that were, at least to her, that weren't standard relationships or friendships. And as guarded as she was to someone on the outside, she was just as guarded with them on the inside in a different way. She kind of put up walls with herself. Uh, she was not allowed to feel specific emotions or to wallow in whatever. It was always just survival. That's what I'm going for. It was always just survival to her. So she was interesting to play, and kind of hard to play at times because she wasn't necessarily a team player unless it made sense for what had to be done.
knowing you,
Yeah.
you as a person, and I will say that Helena, I think, really showed you trying to, again, you said step outside your comfort zone, but to me, just as long as we've known each other, the way you played Helena was like you were exploring what it's like because you're a survivor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you were grasping on to this character of trying how would this in an alternate world, right, actually be, uh, how you would deal with your traumas or what have you. And Helena was an amazing character. When we, not to get into, this isn't really spoilery because it's just hinted at in this next season, but the relationship that happens between Helena and one of Cordelia's friends, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it is interesting. And in at the game table with Helena, it was a crucible moment,
It was.
yeah, between Helena and this character, and uh, yeah, it was great, great. So we're we're I know we got off on a tangent talking about Helena, but
We did.
so you talked about at Dabria, you know,
Mhm.
you feel you connected with more than others. As far as from a Cordelia standpoint, um, don't have to touch on Helena because Helena's so vague right now. And of course,
Yes.
their story comes out as being very pivotal later, but as was promised in the Patreon, right?
Yes.
That was the campaign that would set the course of the entire world, and that's what you all
And it
did.
did. Yeah.
Um, if we look at uh, so Isenatha, who from Isenatha's standpoint do you think she gravitated to the most?
Well, there was definitely one character that she got the most close to, um, which I'm totally blanking his name, but it was JD's character.
Oh, Virion.
Tyrion, thank you. Uh Top hats and all.
Yes, the top.
Vyrion's whole backstory is so tragic, but again, he's a very fun character who has so much comedy to him. um, Probably for Isenatha, the absolute closest one. So I think she bonds with everybody in that group on some level, but she doesn't get super close to any of them on a serious note, except for Varian.
That makes sense. And then you personally, as a player, were there any characters you feel you connected with more than others?
Um, Honestly, I really adored Zev. And the way Storm played Zev, of he again tragic. There's so much more background there, but what we saw up front was just this stoic character among all these idiots. Yeah. I think that's why I love Zev because in so many so many different campaigns and stuff, I would put my character in those shoes, right, of being the serious one to collect everyone. So I think it was relatable on some level, but it was really fun being on the other end of that, of like that stoic character that's just like sighing and shaking his head and walking away, and I'm part of the problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, who is your least favorite person in the world
Oh,
of Dawn of Dragons?
oh God. Um, Cordelia would say Vix.
It's a fair statement. I mean,
A fair statement. I have a love in my heart for Vix and his original, obviously his original player. Uh, um, but yeah, that's more of a like God, you annoy me kind of character, not an actual hate.
yeah, hate's a strong word for
Hate's a
Vix.
strong word. Honestly, I think it would have to be. Um, I mean, I guess Palace. Like that's kind of the whole point, right?
Right. Kind of a jerk.
Yeah, kind of the whole point of him.
Kind of the king of jerks. Well,
The king of jerks.
he's he's not likable. There's not a whole lot kind of pulls him into being liked.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that's why I like
later on you
paused
find
on
out
it.
kind of why he is what he is, but even then it's like, does that absolve you? I
Yeah.
don't think
And
so.
that's what I was kind of going into. Like, is it an actual hate? But I'm a firm believer that as a like me, myself, I'm a firm believer in nothing you do excuses you being a jerk. Nothing you go through excuses you being a jerk. Not this
No.
season, but probably next season with Brother.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
the next, yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
that's next season.
That is next season.
So with you, because we had to release everything in parallel, right? So
Hmm.
just so everybody's aware, season six, which we've had out, that mainly focuses around the Dabria, Sophie, Scott Muir, and Una.
Yeah.
Halfway with, I'd give a little bit. It's kind of in the middle when it comes to Big Smash and Zoran. but that's the main focus of last season. This season is about you, or about Cordelia,
Mhm.
and about Benedict, and about uh, the rest of Zoran and Vixen Bash. so,
Closing
so
that
they
up.
kind of got like 50-50 split across the season. The other folks and you were split a little bit larger.
Yeah,
So this next season is going to cover that. Really, last season took you up until you escaped.
that's what I thought. Okay. I
Yeah,
was trying
yeah.
to piece it together in my head.
It ends with you escaping because of brother, right? Because
Because
brother
of
Bub
brother.
Bub told you to, you know, hoof it. And here's a map. He
Yeah.
helped you out, right?
Yeah, so
Gave you a little map.
there's you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. And I think that scene brings so to my heart, not just for Cordelia, but also Helena, um, with how their paths crossed and everything. Like that one sticks with me and will forever stick with me. Forever. But there's a moment with Sprig and Ruby. I don't remember
Oh,
the full conversation, but like one of those heart to heart like moments they had.
yeah. And that's another one, right? That's going to
Yeah.
be season 8.
Yeah. And sorry guys, it's all future stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the closest to where we're at. I mean, we close out season 10, right? And we only have 6 seasons produced. So you're trying to think back to the beginning of the COVID shutdown is really where
Mm-hmm.
we were all at, and the reason why I had to split all you guys up.
That's because we're all on Zoom and little separate.
Exactly. Yeah, like I need to have separate little pods because everybody trying to gather around one speakerphone on one, and then like the speakerphone on another, and
Mhm.
then a couple people with microphones. It's like it made it really hard for everybody to hear and interact. So I'm like, I need to split up the party.
Yeah, because all of us like live together in separate little pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You can hear people in the other room through another person's headphones. So it's like, it was really hard to do it.
it
But,
was.
at the
We
end
made
of
it
the
work.
day, I mean, we made it work.
Yeah.
Um, there you go, everybody. The reason why the DM said, hey, Benedict, did you know that there's a killer says you need to meet up with Lamprey over there? Okay, yeah, I'll go do that. And Cordelia's like, okay, I'll go with it. I'm like, okay, perfect. There we go. We got a trap. Bam.
Yeah, separate.
And next
Separate.
next game session, you guys will be on your own. And who's next? Oh, you guys get to the new world, and
Yeah.
cool.
I
Now I'm going
mean,
to break you guys all up.
the the reasoning why that happening and COVID and the shutdown and how awful that was for everybody in the world. Um, Despite all that, like it was really cool because I think people got to explore their characters more than they thought they were going to be able to.
I think so because the group got so big. Not everybody was getting their hero moment,
Yeah,
and that's not cool. You want to be heroic. I mean, I I don't know about you, but if I'm playing a role playing game, I'm like, I'm going to make a mediocre character. It's just nothing but average. Only average things happen to the average guy.
across
My
the board.
favorite game is Job Simulator. You know,
That
or,
sounds enjoyable.
yeah, or Farm Simulator. Have you seen that one? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I I played it out of curiosity, and I'm like, this is too real. When I'm
It's too
looking at
close
like
to home.
the tractors, and I'm like, I'm having like PTSD. Where I can hear my dad. The thing that it's not capturing is my dad yelling at me. That's what it's.
It's
That's what it's not capturing. You know,
the only
it's not,
thing missing.
it's not capturing. Heat stroke from painting a roof and
Oh my God. That's real. That's real.
right. It's like could
They
give
did
you
a
a heart.
quarry simulator, which I'm sure there is one,
Oh,
actually, now that I say
that,
it out loud.
probably.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that being said, everyone wants to have uh, their hero moment, and you're right. I think everybody got to split up. we got to explore each of the characters a little bit more, right? We all kind of, okay, well, how are we going to stretch everybody? How are we going to not only come up with a good story, but just, you don't have to, struggle to find the story. The player, at least with you guys, and from my standpoint, I believe strongly that the player will provide that story back.
Yeah.
I'm just providing an environment, some challenges for you to overcome or what have you. At the end of the day, you are making the hero within yourself come out, right? So it's a lot easier if it's not so many people.
Yes, that's true. And
Everybody's
like
fighting for a spotlight.
I think it was also along with what JD was saying, it was so needed over COVID because, for the first time ever, we were all very much trapped with ourselves. So it was almost like
Yeah,
therapy sessions in some way to
it,
get
it,
through,
is- it is true. It is true, man. Yeah. So I mean, we had a lot of. When I think back through the moments with you in my head, it's like I remember the growth of you as a player
hmm
and as a person, right? Because, like you said, you started playing with us when you were a teenager, right? And now you're well into your 20s. And the watching you grow is been a great thing for me. It's been a privilege for me to see you grow, both as a person, as an employee. Like we were joking with Cody in the last one that there's a lot of people that worked for me,
Yeah, not in
but
just a creative standpoint.
that's true. And seeing you grow in that, and then seeing you grow has been an awesome experience. I think at the moments I remember when we had the opening scene and you had to choose between the three. I hadn't even come up with the whole lore yet
Mm-hmm.
around what fey magic is and what have you. I just kind of made it up on the fly, just like, okay, you see three scrolls. There's a shield, a torch, and a tree. And in my head, I'm like, don't choose the tree because I don't know what the hell I'm going to do for the tree. I,
Phenomenal.
I'm just too much of a hippie, so I need to have a tree in there, and I'll figure it out later. And so, and sure enough, you went to the torch. I'm like, cool. All right, you're going to be a fire mage. I know you like fire, so let's go. Right. So, boom. So, kind of took off from there. And the little decisions, like when we put you through the riddles, the way you had to interact with Benedict, who turned into a traitor in there, and then what have you, and the look of betrayal on your face. When I had Brian
Oh my God.
actually
Yeah,
play his dark self in there with you, and just made it seem like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be here with you and help you out. You're like, oh, okay, cool. You totally took it. And,
I
and
did. I was like,
I
yeah,
talked to
sure.
Brian before him. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have this scene with some kobolds, and you're gonna be slaying these kobolds, like butchering them. It's gonna be horrible because you are new. I'm a terrible person. You so Jolene is new to Dungeons and Dragons at this point,
Yeah.
and but Jolene loves dragons, absolutely adores dragons, and hadn't played a whole lot. It hadn't really played any D&D, but had studied the heck out of all the books about dragons. Okay, all right. So this brings in two things. Two things. So first thing is your telling, right? The other one actually comes before that, but you're telling with the dragons. Well, kobolds are described in this world as little lizard men, right? That kind
Yeah.
of mimic dragons,
They're
kind of like
basically tiny little drakes.
yeah, they're little drake guys. And for you as a person, the the response of Brian butchering these dragon people, and you were so furious, like your eyes got big.
So
You were, and Brian just leaned into it. He's like, "Oh, see them, their little hearts, ah, ha, ha, ha." And then you just went total evil, and you were like
good.
ready to kill, and you did. Like you just like I said, okay, open it up. We PvP'd it, but as soon as you attacked him, he was gone. You know,
Yeah.
that's fine. And reality kind of sets back in. The other one is still one of the funniest moments at the table of metagaming is when we were on the ship. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know
We're on
what's
the
coming.
ship, and
Yeah.
and the dragon turtle shows up, and I'm just like making stuff up on the fly. So I'm like, okay, I want to have this like dragon turtle fighting the ship. That was the end goal. I'm like, dragon turtle, ship, combat. It's going to be awesome. And my players are all actors. And so they're like, story. And I'm like, yeah, we got to have story in there. So I started like making up the story. And I didn't even have the miniature for the dragon turtle. I had a conch shell, right?
You did. Yeah,
So I
giant
bring the conch shell and I just like drape it on top of the cardboard, ship mini that I had built out of cardboard, paper towel rolls and stuff. And then when Benedict is, I'm trying to get Benedict to fight this turtle. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have this epic battle. It's gonna be awesome. And you shout over to him, hey, dragon turtles are neutral and they can speak common. Try talking to him. And Brian's like, oh, I'm like, you can't what? No. You this is outside knowledge. I know
This
you
is
guys are new.
this
You're
is
gonna do
when
this
I
whole thing.
understood what metagaming was in D&D.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know. You know what? Fine. Let's try it. Go ahead and roll it. And in my head, I'm like, unless he rolls a 20. And he rolled a 20,
You did.
right? you there are plenty of moments where that's in my head and everybody failed. I mean, we had Zoran, fighting the Dark Elf Queen. We had fighting the Green Dragon.
Yeah.
There's a couple moments in that where I was like, if they hit a 20, nope, they hit 20. It's like I'm given this 5% chance. And then there's times you guys paid off. And this was another one where it paid off. I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to have a conversation. I have no backstory on this conch shell that's on my table.
But sure, let's talk to it again.
Okay, here we go. And I'm like, ah. So I'm like, it hurts. And Zoran's over there. I just skewered him, right? So Zoran
Oh, yeah, that's right.
With the ballista. And he's like,
ow.
So Benedict helps him. Oh, you okay? We have this like, what is it, the lion and the mouse moment. He looks at it, I'm looking for I'm like, I need to have something that they're looking, a conch shell, because that's what's on the table is a conch shell. There's a conch shell, like an onyx conch shell. If you can find this onyx conch shell, fast forward in time, that actually becomes a big thing in
It
this
does.
next season. So I will stop. But
And
we will pause because things are leading into other things. But yeah, there's those two moments I remember big from you in finding your mother's book and what have you. Found the book, and that gave you a book tattoo, right? Just so oh my goodness, there's a book tattoo right there. Oh, what is this sorcery? So, but yeah, it's like, yeah, all these were wild moments. I remember actually when you got the uh both of those tattoos, and then you as a person went out and actually got the tattoos of your character's tattoos. That was like the biggest compliment as a dungeon master. I'm like, really? Oh, that's cool.
I remember because it was still in COVID, and we had this tattoo artist that was like very carefully doing appointments and doing the thing. And those, I don't think we're technically in quarantine anymore, but it's still like right at the cusp of coming out of it. Again, going back to like, I think that game was so important to so many of us, especially over COVID, like in general, obviously, but like that was such a hard time for everybody, of course. That like there was no question. I was like, this is happening. This is what I'm doing. I remember FaceTiming after I got it. We're like,
I was like, oh my God.
yeah. I was going to tell you I was going to do it. I just wanted to do it. Show you.
that that was just too awesome. That
Yeah.
that was awesome. So now we'll talk about you behind the scenes a little bit. So you've written scenes with me,
Mhm.
as well as a lot of production. What kinds of things do you like to do the most? Like, what kinds of things have you enjoyed doing?
For behind the scenes specifically, I really do like editing. I don't. I've had enough, Phil, of like line cutting, but now that has become such like a tedious thing. When I first started, it was great. Now I'm like, I don't want to do that. Uh, but I mean, on some level, all the editing, just because I didn't know how to do any of it, and going back to COVID, actually is when you taught me. Like we were basically on a Zoom or Discord call or whatever we had available to us at the time almost every single night after work, which is also when I was working for you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So you're my legit boss at the time. And then as soon as we'd wrap up at work, I feel like we were almost always on a call. As because you're showing me how to work Reaper
Yeah, that's right.
and yeah, just how to cut audio to start. So
You did awesome. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
I love it. It's a skill that unless you try it, you don't know. And there was never anything before to get me to try it, and it was just you being like, "Want to learn something? Let's do it." um, so I really value that skill. It's come in handy in so many different scenarios at this point. Um, and I love acting. I love voice acting. I've definitely really enjoyed taking more of a step back from like front and center side on stage, or again on mic's different. I really love voice acting. But I really like working behind the scenes and being able to write. I think it's this next season actually.
Mhm.
Help you write that was really neat. And it made me think about writing in a new way because I wanted to make sure I was doing the characters justice because they weren't just my characters. Um, and it was learning how to follow someone's tone and flow without with it still being mine, but without it being too different.
Yeah.
So I remember like diving into like your previous scripts and like listening back on old seasons to try to get the like set the right tone and everything. Um,
You did a great job. The first one you hit for us was in season 5. It was episode 6, I believe.
mhm.
No, yeah, six. Yeah,
That
six.
sounds right. Yeah.
It was 6 or 7, but it was Endora Foxglove. It was
Yeah.
the pirate, the pirate queen, and you wrote that. You wrote that all yourself. I did like a couple edits of Keldor's dialogue, but
Yeah.
that's it.
That's the biggest one.
I edit myself when I'm reading it, so it's like I'm like,
You
why
edit
did I
yourself
write
when
that?
you're recording it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You watch me work.
I've got your audio.
Yeah, you've done my. Well, oh, I can't say that. That makes no sense. Yeah, it gets even better when I write the books. I'm
Yeah.
like, I go through it, and I'm like, how'd that happen? Wait,
The true heroes are Liz and Sue as editors.
yes, absolutely. Liz, Susan, and Cindy are
Oh,
fantastic people,
yeah.
um, for going through that because it's yeah.
A
I'm
lot.
like, there's 2 red dragons and 3 blues, and there's only one that they fight. Now the red dragons. Where'd that second dragon, red dragon, go? Why did I have 2 red dragons? No, okay, go back.
What happened there?
What am I doing? So cool. So do you have any memories of recording or writing that you want to bring up?
I feel like there's so many, especially oftentimes for those who are local. We try to record together as much as possible. Um, and I actually the like first memory of recording that does pop into mind was pretty early on. My telling was in the first season, right? Second season, first
Yeah,
season.
first season was the telling. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember recording that, and I was in tears. Walked out of the room. I all that emotion in those lines were me actually just trying not to snot all over the mic. Uh, it's really interesting to see other people interact with their characters because there's been a few times I've been in the studio with you as just your aide essentially, and it's really it's really cool to see people. Honestly, I my first thought is Zoran and uh Vash.
Oh,
Like seeing those two, like in general, their dialogue, their back and forth is so phenomenal. But seeing them do it in person, it's hard not to like crack up in the studio because
it's fantastic.
yeah, it's like just a level of chemistry that they have that they're able to just bounce back and forth. Um, and then there's of course Mikey. I feel like you and I relate to this of just saying off the wall stuff when we're recording in between takes because we're
Oh,
thinking and like processing. And then Cody decided to turn one of my ending segments into a song.
that's right. It's rap, chicken rap.
Rap. Because I was just saying stuff as I was wrapping up, and in it at the time Cody was cutting.
How would you say you grew since you started on this journey with
Oh
us?
my god. Uh,
Did these characters teach you anything about yourself? Did the world teach you anything about yourself? What do you think?
so much. I mean, we kind of already touched on it where not only was I a teenager when we first started playing, um, I am a survivor. I grew up in a broken household. The some of the players, most of the players, got me out of that situation, and I moved out of home young, and we started. Um, so there was a lot of layers of just teenage angst and turmoil in there, and being thrust into the world in a whole new way. And that's kind of my statement of like I've grown with Cordelia and Cordelia grew with me because as she found herself and like found her defining morals and viewpoints, like that was me discovering those. Like Cordelia through and through was my buffer for understanding the world and growing as a person. And she's how I played out and really like explored a lot of different things. And like honestly, one of the big ones is and Mikey can attest to this, I was very much a quiet kid that just stuck stuck to the side, followed everybody else. Uh I couldn't make a decision ever because it was
Yeah,
never my decision, like whatever you guys want, that kind of thing. And Cordelia really pulled me out of that. Cordelia helped me find my voice and recognize that I have wants and needs, and it's okay to voice those wants and needs and to project yourself and put your foot forward first. So she was definitely the turning point for me in that. And then, of course, we touched on Isenatha being that like exploring the inner child. And with finding myself and finding my voice, recognizing that you can still have fun. You can still enjoy what's going on around you. Everything doesn't have to be set in stone, perfect schedule, that kind of thing. And then Helena was kind of exploring of like my walls and, you know, the trauma I have been through and kind of working through that of, like exactly what you're saying, exploring that side. Like if I didn't grow like those other characters or with those other characters, what would have happened and who I would have been if I didn't, which was also like another another level of healing because Helen is still an amazing character, guarded or not. Uh, so it was kind of that reassurance that like my path was the right path for me. But even if I didn't get there, I still would have been okay, kind of thing.
I'm thinking of moments where, the listeners and those people enjoying our story, where they can pick up on these crucible moments that you have,
Yeah.
right? Where you're taking all this, putting it into the device and heating it up to ungodly temperatures and hoping it all fuses into some sort of alloy, right? When you and Benedict are in the Obsidian Fortress and you get separated,
Mm-hmm.
and Benedict was beside himself, and Brian as a character, as a player, was beside himself. He's like, I can't let you go. Like it, no, you cannot separate us. And you told him flat out that you'll be fine. You'll find you'll find your way. You can handle yourself. Let me use my strength. You're not always going to be there to protect me.
Yep.
And you owned it and you took it and you went solo for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Went solo for a long time. But yeah,
And there's small moments too, because one that I actually come back to frequently is the just being in town and the meat pie thing.
oh, oh yeah,
Of
that's the other one.
yeah, yeah, like stop telling me what I should eat. I
Yeah,
know what I want. Leave me alone. Like that's one of those moments too. I'm like, nope. And it's
absolutely,
such a small moment, but that's one I go back to frequently. If it wasn't this big pinnacle, it was just a moment of shut up and let me choose what I want to choose.
exactly. Yep,
Yeah,
totally. It's Cordelia's journey is fantastic. I mean, everybody's journey in this has been great, but what watching, like you said, how you've dealt with your past and what have you. Um, you've been able to use the characters to explore the childhood you didn't have. You were able to use the characters to, move forward and explore things that you might not have before. Um, we've figured out ways to just all around have fun and just make it work, right?
definitely.
So, so all that said, if we talk about games, you will be playing in the Patreon game
Yeah.
War of the Stone. Oh my goodness, this coming up. So again, for everybody, that's patreon.com/Good Hand Productions. You can get over there, join up. You can play in the game with Jolie.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm excited.
I
So
am too.
so the rule set itself is the price of banners is the name of the set. And the price of banners is my own homebrewed war gaming system based a lot on what we did at the Celestine Tower. But it's been refined. I learned a lot from that day, not just making people mad, but I learned a lot from that day. On how to make this work a little bit better. Now it'll be a little bit smoother and what have you, but it really focuses on characters' stories after they've left this world. So as you play characters and they die in war, because that's unfortunately what war does, right? You will collect these characters, and your next character learns more about those characters, and it becomes the cycle of learning about the characters. So
Love it.
it's going to be a lot of tragedy, but it's going to be great. But this is our year zero in our world. So
At the dawn of time.
the dawn of time. This is the war with Decion.
Mhm.
So we're going to see how this floats. So I'm excited. Now, on that note, people going out to Patreon, they might notice that things are changing a little bit. We have some different worlds that are coming in. It's not just you know, Dice Tower Theater. Even within Dice Tower Theater, we talked about 5 different campaigns in just this interview alone. But outside that, we also have the Chronicles of Eridel, right? So that's Daniel Nichols' stories, where he is tied in, Charlie Saves Christmas and Casting the Spectral Shade and his books, as well as his audio dramas, and how they're kind of working into that, along with our world, Dice Tower Theater, creating this universe. Now, there's another aspect to this universe, and that's a live action theater that we've been involved with together. In fact, that's where we met was was in Avistrom, right? Nobody knows about Avistrom on here except for me, right? So why don't you tell us from your standpoint what Avistrom is, and then my old man memory might throw in some extra stuff.
Perfect. So, to put it in the most simple words to start, Avistrom is this interactive live theater production. So think kind of murder mystery where there's an ongoing story and set characters that you actively interact with as your own character. That is what Avistrom does, except less murder. So it is a kind of inspired by we have a lot of fantasy school stories that exist now. It's inspired off of that, where you get to you get to take magical classes. There are different fellowships in which you get to choose which one you're in. And, you compete for like a fellowship cup and everything. And this all happens over the course of 3 days. And there's a lot of things that are kind of shifting with that. I know the fellowships we're talking about diving a little bit more into because you can change them each year. So more to come with that. But it's really just a place to come, take fun classes, engage in a very interactive storyline with characters that are well rooted within the world. So my characters specifically, like Mike said, that's how we were introduced. So I started Avistrom as a student when I was 11 years old. Since then, my character has grown from this 11-year-old's mind. Her name is very creative. Her name is still Jolene. And she is now head of one of the fellowships. She's deputy headmaster for the school. So a lot of the characters, as you attend year to year, you get to see them grow. And you yourself as a character, whatever character you build there, also grows and can explore other things in the school. It's, yeah, obviously been going on for many of years now. But yeah, and with that, we're kind of partnering up a little bit with Good Ham to kind of explore merging the stories. Avisham is very modern, but you might see some connections there through Dice Tower Theater and such.
Like you had said, you had grown up in a broken household, and when you were attending Avistrom, we all started getting closer. We all started to notice more and what have you. And Avistrom's main goal, I think, has always been this way, and I think it's getting stronger. But it's always been this safe place,
yes,
where creative people can go and explore, creating great stories by acting, creating crafts, make believe. It's a wonderful place. And you had latched into it, became part of the Avistrom fam, right? That's the way it was. I mean, I met you through there. I met JD through there, Storm, Fox. Uh, so many of you I've met through Avistrom. The only people I didn't know through Avistrom, right? Offhand, out of the main crew, is really Brian and Cody.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that brought me into Avistrom.
Yeah.
So it's like, because it's been a fantastic journey seeing that grow. now that it's using its own lore and it's getting its own stories, safe place for people of all diverse backgrounds, different walks, creeds, colors, it doesn't matter. Everybody's able to go explore themselves. And the production itself has always been a lot of fun. I mean, when we do a con weekend, you got 3 days where people can go and pretend they're in this school for all 3 days and experience this murder mystery story, like you said, get the bad guy, whatever, right? Have these great moments. So yeah, Avistrom is fantastic, and being able to tie these together finally is amazing because this next year, who knows and what's going to come out of it when we get together for our strategic meetings here in the next month and all talk about what we want to do. Is it going to be a couple of events? Is there going to be panels involved? Is there going to be, different appearances at different cons? I mean, what do we want to do and get this out there and start making it expand? I think this could be a very exciting year with Avistrom. So
I think so too.
So what are you planning to do next? You got anything planned outside of what we've discovered? Is there anything I didn't touch on that you can think of?
I don't think so. I think for the next year, it's what you just ended on there. We have among the three worlds there, we have so much of a sandbox, and it's really learning and delving into expanding and putting our story out there and letting all of our creative people who are part of the companies do what they do best and make art.
Sounds good. So avistrom.org. Everybody should head out there, take a look at it. You can jump from there over to, there's a link there for goodhamproductions.com. That's going to be where we have the newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter there to start off with. And as Avistrom expands and we get that newsletter out to everybody, we'll let you know about other great things, how to join the community, what have you. We'll have all kinds of stuff. I'm very, very excited for what we're going to do here. All right. Well, where can our listeners find more of your work or follow you on social media?
So you can follow that link of avistrom.org. I'm intermingled with both Good Ham and Avistrom. You can definitely find us on social media too with Avistrom through Avistrom Academy of Sorcery is going to be most of our social medias.
Sounds good. Well, until next time, adventurers, stay safe and remember the oath.